Hello, I'm Ken Butler. I'm president of Aaron Sales and Lease Ownership.
Hi, I'm Allie. Hi, I'm Angela.
And welcome to Talladega in the Aaron's 312, the fastest, longest race of the Busch season. Now you wonder why we run 312 miles.
Number one, you're always pre-approved. Number two, you're always guaranteed the lowest price.
And number three, you can own your dream products in as little as 12 months. Welcome to Talladega. Sit back, relax, and have a great day.
Well, we thank you for that. Once a soybean field, then a World War II airfield, now one of the hot tracks on the circuit. Welcome back to the Aaron's 312 on Fox, brought to you by Aaron's. Let Aaron's drive your dreams today. At Talladega Superspeedway, 40 miles from Birmingham, Alabama, just down the road from Atlanta, Georgia, and moments away from the start of today's race. The starting lineup on the screen will be shown below. Clint Boyer on the pole, shares the front row with teammate Ron Hornaday Jr. Also Robert Presley back in the 47 car for Mark Green, his father in the hospital. We certainly hope that he is doing well. No man, of course, drives alone at Talladega. It's a team effort, so we sent Jeff Hammond alone down to our Ford cutaway car to explain. Jeff?
Well, Chris, when it comes to Talladega or any racetrack on the circuit, you need the new safety restraints as far as the headrest, the helmet, the head and neck restraint. But more importantly, when you come to Talladega, you need to have a good set of mirrors so you can see the cars on your inside as well as on your outside, because you can't move your head around a lot. But the guys you're going to really be dependent upon today will be the spotters who are upstairs looking down upon all these race cars as they race around this high bank racetrack. You've got to have a spotter who you can have confidence in, because dicing in and out of traffic at better than 190 miles an hour, you have got to have somebody you can trust. And for more on this, what happens when you don't have the right person, Speedway Illustrated's Dick Bergman.
Well, thanks, Jeff. The big topic of conversation in the garage this weekend among drivers and crews has been the big one, the big crash that sweeps up a dozen, 2 dozen, or more cars. Last year, the big one happened on lap 9. The year before, it happened on lap 15. But it can happen anytime, early in the race, middle of the race, tail end of the race. The drivers say they think it's going to happen today. Their wives, their friends, their fans, the drivers themselves hope it doesn't. Jeannie?
How to avoid the big one? That is the million-dollar question, with several schools of thought, including these from guys who know, the veterans. A bunch of drivers in the garage today were talking about, hey, let's get together, help each other work to the back of the pack, and then the madness can just unfold in front of us. Other drivers like Joe Nemechek said, wait a second, I prefer to step on the gas, get out in front, and leave all the drama in my dust. The conclusion? There is no answer. Hold your breath, Steve.
And Jeannie, this race, one of the keys to the race, positioning. You have got to be in position at the end of the race to make a charge, and you can't do it by yourself. You have to be in position with a friend, a dancing partner, to be able to make a run to the checkered flag. If you don't, you'll be hung out to dry, Matt Yoakum.
Steve, who you dance with on the racetrack may definitely dictate who you partner with when it comes time to hit pit road for service. Polling a number of crew chiefs this morning in the garage area, the majority are on the 2-stop plan, but already they're ready to go for a gamble, even call an audible on whether to go for the 2, 4, or no tires when it comes time to hit pit road. But it all dictates whether it's a no caution or a number of cautions. Mike?
Thanks, Matt. The drivers do not grip the wheel tight in fear, but Darrell, running this close at these speeds, why do they call this white knuckle racing?
Well, you actually you're squeezing it that hard here. I mean, you can't relax. And one of the things about this aero package, I like it, but the drivers kind of say it causes a problem for them, is the closing rate. When the cars are all bunched up in front of you and you got that big spoiler on the back and that wicker bill on the top, it allows your car to really suck up in a hurry. And that's where you run into problems. Get somebody up here not going as good as you are, ram into the back of them, and we got trouble.
Larry, the driver's doing all he can with his foot on the floor all the time. What about pit strategy?
Well, I'm going to follow up on Matt Yoakum. What you do, you work this race backwards as a crew chief. It's 117 laps, 300 miles. If you can run about 50 laps on fuel, you work that backwards. And your goal is, once you get to within that window, and you can get fuel in that car, and these cars run the 22-gallon fuel cells versus the 13.5 in the Cup cars, you get that car full of fuel, some decent tires at least on the right side, and then you're good to go. The best position to be, and we can talk about strategy, is out there leading this thing.
Chris?
Well, the yellow line certainly could figure. That's the out-of-bounds line that drivers will have to be careful with. And we're getting ready for the green flag. Drivers representing 21 states from across the U.S., 4 from Alabama. That's the most, along with Michigan. We'll be back in a moment. Fox, glad to have you with us from Talladega Superspeedway. Be with us tomorrow at 1 Eastern, noon Central Time for Cup racing. Today, Busch Racing and awaiting the big one. Whether it will happen or not, we'll keep an eye on it, Mike Joy.
It's not inevitable. Mark Martin won here in '97 with only one caution flag, but it seems to happen so frequently here. Somebody tips somebody, a car gets sideways, and the whole field wads up behind them.
Mike, you raced at so many other racetracks where a little contact doesn't hurt anything. Here, a little contact creates situations like this.
Now, as 737 takes off and lands at, what, 135, 140 miles an hour, somewhere in that, 160 miles an hour, excuse me, we're running nearly 200 miles an hour. So these cars, NASCAR's done all they can to keep them on the ground, but, well, you see what happens.
And you see most of these big ones, they happened up there in the very front part of the pack. And we talk about the importance of the spotter. There's nothing a spotter can do to talk you through that.
85 degrees, beautiful day here. There's your track temperature at 105 and just a little whiff of a breeze.
And with running around here wide open, that track temperature has to make a substantial change to really make a difference in the handling of these cars. Remember, they run around here wide open, never lifting the throttle.
The real breeze is generated by these race cars as they go by at 190 or so.
Incredible amount of turbulence comes off these cars right now.
And there you see the pit road speed, 55 miles per hour. That can be a challenge when you come off that racetrack on the green running 190 miles an hour. 3 sets of tires under caution. We don't anticipate they'll even use that many. And if we do have a caution late in the race, 4 laps to go, we would get the red flag at lap 113 or less.
Several cars are on pit road. Brian Vickers among them, or excuse me, Bobby Hamilton Jr. among them.
David Green's back down there. I'm not sure what he's doing there. Here he goes.
We'll mention again that David's middle brother, Mark Green, qualified the 47. I want to say hello to Bob Presley and that whole family out in Asheville, North Carolina. Bob, a longtime star of NASCAR's Late Model Sportsman Series, which became the Busch Series. His son, Robert, will climb in the car and race today. Bob suffered a stroke earlier this week, and we hope he's doing okay.
Yeah, I raced against him back in the 70s. He's a tough competitor.
Now, the irony of those cars that were on pit road, now you cannot stop and put fuel in your car until the green flag, but the irony of David Green, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Johnny Benson, that was exactly 3 of the teams that I know Jeannie Zelasco talked to this morning. You heard her in her pit story earlier that wanted to get to the back of the pack and actually put some distance in themselves in the front of the field, get away from the eye of the storm a little bit.
So you're saying they're not going to race their way to the rear. They have positioned themselves there on the pace ladder.
Just based on what we were told this morning and what Jeannie had found out, it has all that look about it.
Let's find out. Steve?
Well, Mike, we just checked out in David Green's pits, and they were having radio problems. This is not a place where you don't want to have radio communication problems, but they say now the problem is fixed. Matt?
Steve here in the 25 pit. Basically, Bobby Jr. came down pit road, and they nonchalantly looked over the tires, and also keeping in mind their original game plan was to drop to the back anyway. So you can kind of see that goes along with their game plan, Dick.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. was just on the radio and thanked everybody for what he called the extra effort to get this car in the race. He said if they drop out of the first lap or win the race, it's all the same. It's about coming here to have fun. Thank you, everyone.
Junior won in Daytona with number 8. He's relinquished that to Martin Truex, who's going to run the whole Busch Series with the number 8. So Junior's in 81 today.
There's no question in my mind now. That's exactly what Johnny Benson, David Green, Bobby Hamilton Jr., that's what they're doing. They're getting away from this field for a few laps in the beginning of the race.
Yeah, that's a great strategy, but can't get too far back there. Even the 3 of you can, or they'll get away from you.
But that's the good thing about this aero package, Darrell. You can pull back up a little better than the old package.
Getting set to go racing for 312 miles at Talladega.
Well, them belts tight one more time. Let's go.
Boogity, 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 boys. Let's go racing.
Now with the carburetor restrictor plate, it will take these cars almost a complete lap to make it back around to be at full speed.
2 cars slow getting up to speed. Donnie Neuenberger, and that yellow car on the apron is Justin Ashburn.
Right now we're seeing a lot of 2x2. It will not be long, as we're already seeing on the backstretch. You'll see them 3 wide, you'll see them 4 wide.
Rookie Clint Boyer being pushed by rookie Martin Truex. That's Hornaday up top with Robbie Gordon, 2 veterans.
And those yellow bumpers are is why some of those guys wanted to fall the back. These guys have very limited experience here, almost none.
That 16 car is not going to make it around. He may turn in on the apron in turn 2 as we come around to complete lap 1.
It's pretty much all Richard Childress Racing engines up there, 1, 2, 3. Remember Robbie Gordon, even though he owns his own Busch Series team, Richard Childress builds the engine for him. We're single file through about the first 7 or 8 cars.
Jason Leffler leading the group up top. Back at about 12th place.
We're riding with Dale Earnhardt Jr. right there. He has a little bit of help from behind, but it looks like they're trying to get down to the bottom of the racetrack.
16, you see, did not turn in. He's crawling slowly toward the garage, but he's well down and below the yellow line off the racetrack officials. And they'll wave the caution for Justin Ashburn. Racing stops, field is frozen, and everybody will reduce speed and come around to the line and complete lap 2. First caution of the day, lap 2 at Talladega.